Good evening, and thank you for tuning in tonight to gather together virtually and practice some meditation. We'd like to welcome you from the BSV. I'm here at the Buddha Center at the moment. It's Ajahn Sādaro who'll be leading the meditation tonight. We have had a few technical difficulties over the past few days, and so if you are having problems with the audio, just let us know in the chat at any time if there is any kind of problems there. But if not, please sit quietly and just continue to meditate. So tonight will be for anyone who hasn't tuned in before. We usually sit meditation. I offer some meditation instructions for about the first 45 minutes or so, and after that we open the forum for questions. If you'd like to ask any questions about either anything about Buddhism in general, you're more than welcome to. Or meditation, you're more than welcome to put those questions in the chat beside, and we encourage lots of questions, whatever they may be. It's most people find that they have similar questions, but they just don't think to ask them. So if you do think of anything that pops into your head, just feel free to put them in the chat. And just maybe a little bit about me for anyone that doesn't know who I am. As I said, my name is Ajahn Sādaro. I ordained in Thailand many years ago, and I've been back in Australia for the last few years, and I am now residing here at the Buddhist Society of Victoria at the Buddhist Center here in Melbourne East. And with that, I think we can maybe start the meditation tonight. And so if I'm assuming most people have practiced some sort of meditation before, so we'll just start the meditation now. So find yourself a comfortable seat, whether it's cross-legged on the floor or whether you're sitting on a chair. The actual posture or the position that you're sitting in doesn't matter too much. You can also either be standing if you like. It's just as long as we keep our eyes closed for this meditation and try to keep our posture nice and straight, but without being too overly rigid. Loose and relaxed, but nice and upright. And so before we begin the meditation, you can just make the determination in your mind that for the next 45 minutes or so, you're just going to decide to put everything down, everything that's happening in your life. To lay this aside for these next few minutes. Any problems or worries or plans or things that you may feel like you need to do. Just for now, just put these aside. They'll all be here at the end of the meditation, and just make the determination to try to keep your mind focused with the object of meditation that you use. And just to start off the meditation, try to bring your awareness to the feeling of your body sitting here in this position. Feel the various sensations all throughout the body. You can feel the weight of your body against the the seat, or the different sensations on your feet. Notice any sensations there, tingling, vibration, any kind of temperature, feeling of your clothes touching your skin. Make your awareness rounded at the moment in the sphere of the body, the position that it's in. Know exactly how the body feels right now. And scan through the body, and if there is any tension or strain, say in the face, in the brows, or if the jaw is clenched, just relax all the muscles in your face. If there's any tension in your shoulders, just try to relax that and make it soft. And now start to become aware of the sensations of the breath moving in and out of the body. You can notice how the body moves with the breath. The abdomen rises and falls. Your chest expands and contracts. You can feel the air come in at the tip of the nose. They come in cooler, and as it goes out, it may feel a little warmer. Just notice the breath as it moves through these 3 points. The tip of the nose, through the chest, and into the abdomen, and as it moves out. Notice how this process feels all the different sensations. You can also make a mental note in your mind. As the breath comes in, you can think in, and as it goes out, you can think out. If you find it difficult just to stay with the sensations, then you can make this mental note as well. But just try to be aware as possible of this process of the breath coming in and going out, and any thoughts or distractions that may come up. If you feel the mind getting pulled away by them, just return and start again when you notice that the mind's wandered off, and come back to this feeling of the breath coming in and going out at these 3 points. And as your mind starts to follow along more closely with the feeling of the breath coming in and going out at these three places, the tip of the nose or the chest or the abdomen, start to become aware of where it most naturally settles in either one of these places. Try to rest your attention in this one spot. Notice how the breath feels in this spot. If it's at the tip of the nose, you can notice the sensations in greater detail. If it's in the chest area, again, you can notice it in greater detail. Notice the rhythm of the breath. The same with the abdomen. Just rest your awareness in this one spot. Try to anchor it. There's no need to try to strain your awareness and your focus down onto this spot. Just let this spot and this space be the place where your awareness rests. Start to become interested in all the various phenomena that happens from this place. Just relax and sink into this spot, into this point where you can clearly know the breath coming in and going out. any swaying or movement of the mind. Just try to balance it back to this point where you're aware of the breath. You notice the mind going off kilter. Just simply correct just a touch. Move it slightly back onto that point. Just like if you're trying to balance a broom in your hand. You have to make small corrections for the broom to stand upright in your hand. You don't sway too far. You don't grab too tightly. You don't make jerky or sudden movements. You just continue to make small corrections to take the broom back to this center point of balance. And any movements it makes, you make a small error correction to keep it upright and still. As the mind moves and sways away from the breath, just make these small error corrections to come back to this point. Make your awareness more refined and focused on this point. Notice the sensations in greater and greater detail. And have this point where you are aware of the breath envelop your whole awareness. Balance your attention on this point of stillness. Now from this singular and balanced, focused point of awareness on the breath, remain anchored at this point, but also broaden your awareness. Notice how the breath moves throughout the whole body. Notice how it moves your whole torso. And the movement of your breath in your back. You can even notice the pulse and the flow of the breath moving through your arms, your hands, notice how the muscles and the skin change and move with the rhythm of the breath. You can even be aware of this ebb and flow of the breath throughout your legs, and all the way down into your feet. You can even feel like the whole body is breathing. A unified organism that ebbs and flows with the breath. Notice this all throughout. Even notice it on the top of your head. And the breath moves and presides throughout every single millimeter of the body. Again, though, rest in this single point of stillness. But let your whole attention envelop the whole of your body and notice how the breath flows throughout Simply be this spot, singular point that is the breath. Let there be nothing else but this place of awareness, the breath. And have the breath be the only thing in all of your conscious experience. Just be this singular point. Have it pervade the whole sphere of this experience. There is nothing else but this breath, but this point, but this stillness. relax your position, change, move around a little bit. The light come into your eyes. You all had a nice and peaceful and still and calm meditation. If you have any questions now, you can write them in the chat and I'll answer some of them now, if there's any.
Thank you very much, Ajahn. We have 2 questions at the moment. 3, actually. The first question is, when I'm very stressed, I cannot sit and meditate. Not only my mind is too restless, but also my body. What is the advice to calm down in this case? From France.
Well, if you are excessively stressed, potentially right at that point in time, maybe meditation, sitting down to meditate and closing one's eyes mightn't be the best course of action. One might ruminate further and further on thoughts that are actually stressing you out. One thing you can do is maybe do something a little bit more, course that does pull your mind more back into the point that you're trying to be, that you're trying to establish. So you can do things instead of maybe sitting meditation and trying to just focus on the breath. You can try to do some walking meditation. You can and just try to keep your mind focused on maybe some sort of mantra or something. Just say, for example, Buddha with every step you take, or you can do chanting. If you find chanting actually helps to rein your mind in, or you can even at times, instead of trying to do something like focus your awareness on a single point like the breath. You can maybe find a Dhamma teaching that you like, a short Dhamma teaching, say for example from the Dhammapada or something, get a verse and just try to repeat that over and over again, and hopefully that reins your mind in a little bit more. So you can try different things, and obviously it depends what you're stressed about as well. If you're stressed, if you're stressed and angry about something, then you can do a different kind of counter practice. Say for example something like metta meditation. If you're stressed and worried about things, then it's probably better. Stressed and anxious about things, and it's probably better to do some of those more overt kind of coarser physical kinds of meditation at that time, and that can maybe help with the restless energy. If you are walking meditation and moving around, it can sort of help settle that restlessness a little bit. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Ajahn. The second question is from Bangkok, and is similar in a way. How can I improve my meditation, because I can only sit for 5 or 10 minutes? Please advise.
Well, if you can only sit for 5 or 10 minutes, I'm sorry I took so long. You had a course of many 5 and 10 minutes in that last session, so I apologize for that. Look, it's 5 or 10 minutes is fine. There's nothing wrong with sitting for only 5 to 10 minutes. It's not about how long you sit. It's about the actual quality of the time that you spend meditating. If you sit for only 5 minutes, but you're very mindful and you're very focused on that one thing that you're meant to be doing at that point in time, then that's a 5 minutes very, very well spent. But if you're just going through the motions and thinking, well, I have to sit for an hour, and you spend 57 minutes of that hour in just restless thought, and you're only mindful for 3 minutes, that's not as good as a 5 minutes spent really being aware of your meditation object. But meditation is a practice that you gradually get better and better at. When you start out, you start off with a lot shorter time periods of 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it naturally increases by itself the more skilled you get at it. But you can also, if you're finding it's something that maybe worries you and you're starting to get concerned, maybe you've been able to meditate for longer in the past. Maybe you used to be able to sit for half an hour, but now you just get bored and restless and agitated and only want to sit for 5 minutes. Well, then you can start to just try to extend the period that you're sitting by a minute or so every time. Or even you can do this if you're very new to the practice. Say for example now you can only sit 5 minutes, and you feel like that's all you can handle. That's fine. Do that for a few days, but then at one point think, okay, well, I'm going to sit for 6 minutes, and set a timer or whatever you want, and just resolve just to stay there for the 6 minutes, and then just keep gradually increasing it a little bit and by a little bit, and then you will be able to sit for 10 minutes by the end of a few weeks, and you keep increasing. You can sit for 15, you can sit for 20, you can sit for half an hour, you can sit for 3/4 an hour longer. You just keep gradually increasing like that. But the other side of that is if you have been maybe meditating for a long time and you're just finding yourself you're very restless, and you used to be able to sit for half an hour, and now you can only sit for 5 minutes, and you're very restless and agitated or bored and apathetic and lethargic towards the practice, then you do have to push back a little bit against that and try to again do the same thing as you do when you were new. Just, okay, well, I know I can sit for half an hour. I know I've done it before, and now at the moment I'm only sitting for 5 minutes. But then just go, okay, I'm going to go to 10 minutes. I'll just do 10 minutes. You don't have to go back to the full half an hour straight away, but okay, I'll just sit for 10 minutes, and then after a few days or a week, okay, I'll just sit for 15 minutes, and just try to bring it back again. And even though if it is hard, and you are still feeling bored and restless and all these kinds of things, that's fine. Don't worry about that too much. But it's developing that capacity to sit with this uncomfortableness and this restlessness, because if you have been sitting for longer periods of time beforehand and now you're back down to 5 minutes, what it means is that your resolve or your will is getting a little bit weaker. Say for example you were sitting for half an hour before, and all of a sudden it gets to the point where you're moving down to 25 minutes, and you're moving down to 20 minutes. What's happening there is like you're getting bored at that level of, say, 20 minutes or 25 minutes and going, okay, I'm just going to stop now. And, the next few times you're getting bored at 18 minutes, and okay, I'm going to stop now. And now I'm getting bored at 15, I'm going to stop now. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. So if you have already built up that skill, built up that capacity, try to move it in the other direction of moving it again in that something that's just a little bit outside your comfort zone of how long you want to. As I said, if it's, say for example, if it's 15 minutes, right, I'll move this up to, make it 18 minutes or whatever it is. Just move the dial back up a little bit again. What's, an extra 2 minutes, it's not gonna, the world's not going to implode in 2 minutes. You're not going to break down after 2 minutes. So just push. You can just try to push yourself a little bit and just push yourself within your limits. And gradually over time, it gets better and better and better. And but really the main point there is, in saying all that, the main point there is it's not really about the time that you sit. It's about how you use your mind and how you use your mindfulness at that time when you're sitting to the best quality. If you find that 5 minutes is good and you feel like that's fulfilling and you can keep your attention very well for 5 minutes, then just do 5 minutes. It's fine.
Thank you, Ajahn. The gradual increase reminds me of the advice to runners, actually, is when they do their longest run, never increase their length of distance by more than 10% in a week. Yeah. So it's to keep it very gradual. It sounds very similar.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, because if you go, okay, I can only do 5 minutes, I'm going to gradually increase this to like 25 minutes. You're going to do that for a day and just go, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, the gradual, that's probably a good, the 10% more in meditation is probably a good thing as well. You just gradually increase it so you don't become disheartened, or if you're a runner, I'm guessing you become overly tired and
injured.
Yeah. Don't injure your self-confidence for meditation by trying to do too much.
Thank you. Then I'm going to say the next question, it was been answered already, actually. You've said, I can't concentrate on anything for more than 5 minutes. So I think that's sort of similar, the same answer pretty much as the previous one. It's just
And again, concentration, concentration and attention is a skill that you develop. The more you develop it, the better you get at it. So it's not something that you can't do. It's something that you just haven't really developed the capacity or the skill yet to do. For me, for example, I can't run 10 kilometers. But I couldn't sprint 10 kilometers. But if I gradually work at it every day, and I at the moment I go for a walk every day, and but by the way, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go for a jog around Melbourne. You're not going to see a monk jogging around Melbourne. But if I were to build up the capacity to sprint or to run for 10 kilometers, I'd go on my 10-kilometer walk today. In the next few days, I'd just get a little bit faster. A few days after that, a week after that, get a little bit faster, a little bit faster, until I developed the capacity to run those 10 kilometers. So likewise with your attention, it's not something that you can't do. It's just a skill and a capacity that you haven't quite developed yet. So just be patient. Don't get too worried if you can't do it yet. Just keep working at it, and it will get better as time goes on.
Thank you, Ajahn. The last question we have online at the moment, which probably should be the last one because we're getting close to 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Should one experience jhana before dedicating oneself very seriously to the practice, e.g. ordaining? Is there such a thing as doing too much too soon?
Nope. I didn't have jhana before I ordained, and it's working out okay. So no, you don't need it before you dedicate yourself to the practice. If you have jhana already, you're probably pretty dedicated to the practice already, and your practice is going quite well. So, but that doesn't mean one shouldn't be continually trying to develop it and continually trying to make it more and more an important part of your life. If you had to wait till you had jhana until you ordained, the world would be bereft of Buddhist monastics. So don't worry about that. But really, what you have to work with what you've got, and you have to continue the practice with whatever you've got. If you can make your mind calm, if you can make your mind calm to some extent, that's good. Then you can investigate more different Dhamma themes from that. If you can make your mind calm to some extent, and you feel like you want to commit more time to practicing, then you can do that. But it's not about that you have to do one thing before you do the other thing. It's one has to continually develop one's practice over time, and one doesn't reach a certain point and then go, I'll do this next thing. It's something that you just gradually do over time, and it unfolds over time. So what was the second part of the question?
Is there such a thing as doing too much too soon?
Yeah. Well, you have to know your own limits. You have to, you don't want to. You have to know your own limits and how much you're capable of doing. If you, just say hypothetically speaking, now you know that you can sit for an hour. You don't want to go the next day and go, okay, I need to be doing 16 hours of meditation a day. It's like, no, like doing that is doing too much too soon. Over also having what would you call it, a skewed view of what meditation and a more contemplative life would bring about that also can be problematic as well. If you think that if you think that if I have to do all these very, very serious and very intense practices to become enlightened, and if I'm not doing that, I'm wasting my life and I'm wasting my time, and I really need to throw everything away and totally commit to a life of meditation. It's good to have these thoughts, but one has to know one's actual spiritual faculties and capacities that you have. Maybe you're not quite ready for that. So if you throw everything away and just jump into the deep end with this, and then within a couple of months you're like, what have I done? I've ruined everything around me. Then you have bitten off more than you can chew, and you've done more than what is within your limits. So you have to have leveled expectations about what this practice can bring, and what you will get out of whatever amount of practice that you do. You might do a lot of practice, and you might think, well, me doing a lot of practice means I should be getting jhana and I should be getting enlightenment, and but that's not always necessarily so. So you do have to just temper your expectations with your actual abilities and your own capacities as well. And if you want to come and ordain, that's fine. Come and ordain. It's a good thing. You try it out. It's you won't know until you try. But yeah, trust me, it's okay. You don't need jhana to ordain. It's totally fine.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn. I'd like to say we were joined by people from many different places, many different time zones today, including Horsham in country Victoria, Sydney, France, as I said, Bangkok, Maine in America, Spain and Malaysia, not to mention Melbourne.
Wow, multiple. So, that is
all over the globe.
Yeah, that is multiple time zones. That's phenomenal. Hopefully, if you are in time zones where it's either very, very late at night or maybe exorbitantly early in the morning, I really do appreciate you tuning in and sitting in with us to meditate here. It's really, really nice. So, and also obviously all the people in the Australian time zone, we appreciate that as well. So it's very nice. Okay, so with that we'll call it a night. Is there any no? Okay, so again, we're still doing most of these online. We should have an update over the next few weeks of when when the centre may be opening. Restrictions are, they haven't there's still some restrictions, so just keep updated. And but for now, we'll still be doing it online for the next foreseeable future. But until we make an announcement that we'll be doing it in person again, so just keep in touch, keep updated, and we'll let you know. And so, wish you all the best with your practice over the course of the next week, and may your practice be successful.